All right, welcome back, everyone. Sir Adrian again here, filming the random events as well as the Japanese entry roll for the upcoming turn we're going into, which would be the summer of 1914. For our current Global War 1914 game, we're having Operation Bersaglieri. Before I get into that, however, there is one quick correction we have to make. So the Austro-Hungarians this turn did not roll for wartime economy. They're the only nation who currently has wartime economy. So that's 2d6s. So we'll go ahead and roll that. A 5 and a 2, so another 7. So on top of whatever they have, which was 13, if I recall correctly. Yep, 13 is what they should have had at the end of last turn. 12 is their baseline wartime income, but they also get +1 because Bulgaria was aligned in the random events last turn. So 13 plus 7. So they should have 20 IPP. So I'll make sure to update that in the TTS file once I update things after the random events. So we'll get to those now. So we'll roll first for the summer 1914 West. So we got a 5, so Russian mobilization. So Germany and Russia each roll a d6. The highest roll chooses one of the following. Where essentially one of the options is good for me as the Russians. The other option is better for the Germans. So this purplish dice will be for the Russians. The other one will be for the Germans. Okay, so Germany wins, unfortunately for me. So they would certainly pick option A. So Willie Nicky Telegram. So move a combined total of 4 Russian infantry from any land zones adjacent to German starting territories and place them on the place unit box. And the little history blurb for that one is a flurry of telegrams between the Kaiser and Tsar comprise a series of 10 messages that lead the Tsar to cancel Russian mobilization. So a combined total of 4 Russian infantry from any land zones adjacent to German starting territory. Yeah, I don't have that many adjacent to German starting territory, so I'll take my one out of Congress, Poland, I suppose. We'll take one out of Lithuania, and we'll take 2 out of Grodno province, so that's a total of 4. And they get put back in the place units box, so when it gets back to my turn, I'll be able to place these once again, but unfortunately for now they're removed. Not ideal, but good for the Germans. So that's that. We'll go ahead and do the random event for the East now. So A6, so information control. Damn, neither of these events were good for the Allies. So British control over war news increases. Oh, actually, never mind. This is good for the Allies. Increases U.S. peacetime income by 3 IPP. So Britain cuts 5 German overseas underwater cables, effectively severing all German information. So the U.S. is still at peace, but instead of collecting 3 IPPs, starting the end of this turn, they'll be collecting 6 IPPs. And hopefully, which we will go through some of this with B-Guest once it gets to him if you have any questions about this, but that's quite good. Hopefully the U.S., depending on how things are going, might be able to enter the war slightly earlier than they normally would, which, considering how things are going so far, especially for me, would not be a bad thing. We definitely need to have an allied conference or group chat of some kind made between the British, French, and Russians especially, but with the Americans as well, to kind of decide in these next few turns going forward what we're going to do, because it's not looking very good for me, especially as the Russians so far, but we'll see how things go. So those are both done. So now we'll roll for the Japanese entry, because this will be the first turn that the British Empire reaches wartime income. That is to say, at the end of this turn, they will reach that milestone. So there's going to be no modifiers because nobody's playing as the Japanese. If there was, they could decide to apply a certain modifier if they wanted a higher chance of joining either the Allies or the Central Powers, respectively. So we roll a d12, and we got an 11. So on a result of 6 to 12, Japan joins the Allies and aligns to the British Empire, which is what we got. You wouldn't needed a 1 to 2. So it's very rare that they'll join the Central Powers. It does happen. And in a way, it's almost somewhat more interesting if it does happen, because then Japan has a lot more money. Depending on how aggressive they are, can run amok in the Pacific or cause a lot more trouble. But that's certainly good for us, me especially. I was quite hoping that this would be the case. And who knows, perhaps the Japanese could even spare some of their forces after fighting the Germans, or even before, to send them into Russia to help us out. So Japan's at peace currently, however, until they are either declared war on by another major power, or on their turn declare war on other major powers. So for now, I can't quite recall what their peacetime income is. Okay, yeah, like I thought that's what it was. They have 0 peacetime income. And as the Allies, when they do go to war, they'll have 6, because it's half of their original starting territory IPPs rounded down. That is to say, if they were Central Powers, they would normally be collecting 12 IPPs. But going forward, any other territories that are worth IPPs that they get, they'll get to keep that amount. So that 6 could go up, of course, with a strategic naval movement of 2. So that's quite interesting. Hopefully the Japanese will be able to deal with those dastardly Germans over in the Pacific and deny them some of their colonies and destroy their Pacific fleet, which would be good for the Allies, preventing the Germans from having a presence in the region and thus gaining a victory point. So that'll be it for now. So I'll get this uploaded quickly, and we'll pass it on to MP7 to do the German turn, which she's been planning with Tintin. And that way there, hopefully tomorrow at some point as well, or maybe even today, if somehow we have the time, Sibskallian could get to the British turn, and that way there, Laker could get to the Austro-Hungarian turn, and we could, again, just keep things moving a lot quicker, or at least as quickly or somewhat more quickly than they've been going. So I'll be back again shortly.